Headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
And we're going to start the show, though, by going straight to Ukraine to talk to one of the beleaguered nation's top MPs, Dmytro Natalukha. Good morning, Dmytro.
Good morning. Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Our deep condolences for the deaths that are already happening in your country and the appalling scenes that we're watching on the television. Just your thoughts looking back on the past 24 hours. We've seen pictures of missiles raining down on your beautiful capital city, Kyiv, overnight. The attack seems to be consistent, and the Russians, we're told, should be taking that city within hours. Your thoughts on the last traumatic 24 hours?
I mean, my thoughts are very simple. It's been the worst day in my life. And I think the worst couple of days in the life of every Ukrainian. Nobody would have ever imagined that this can happen in the 21st century. 2.5 hours flight from London. And this is Europe. This is not some remote region of the world. This is us. This is Ukrainians, European people like you, modern people like you, civilized people like you, unfortunately having to fight with absolutely uncivilized, tyrannical, authoritarian madman who is Putin and his crony establishment. And I think there is not just the question of the moral obligation for the West to support this fight. What we see now is that there become another humanitarian obligation, because there is heavy combat going on in the Chernobyl zone, which is in the north of Kyiv, and it has been occupied by the Russians. And they are constantly shelling our troops, trying to get Chernobyl back. And there is a very, very serious threat that one of their artillery or one of their airplane might hit Chernobyl, leading to a humanitarian and ecological catastrophe, not only in Ukraine, but all over the Europe.
That is terrible. Let me assure you, Dmytro, that many of us here in the West, in the safe cities of places like London and Washington, are rather alarmed at the Western response so far. What do you in Ukraine feel about the West's response so far, which seems to just have consisted of threatening extremely serious economic sanctions? Obviously, they are called for, but do the people of Ukraine, do you feel that you need more than that? As I said earlier, I believe that we have a moral obligation to help you militarily. Is that what you think?
By all means. By all means. And at least, why I made this point about Chernobyl is because the simplest thing to do without sending no troops, from other countries to Ukraine, would be to provide a no-fly zone over at least Kyiv, if not the whole Ukraine, just to make sure that this catastrophe and another nuclear tragedy will not happen once again because of Putin. So that is the simplest thing to do without having to send somebody here directly. Another thing is that I think for a week already, I'm trying to communicate with MPs, including the UK and from other countries. We lack satellite phones, for instance. We are very short of them, and we would really love our partners to provide them, and we are ready to buy them, but we need somebody to supply them. And there are other things, of course, but the main thing is that one should understand that in terms of something hybrid, not only an attack can be hybrid, defense also can be hybrid. So if we saw little green men in 2014 as people who attacked Ukraine, why can't we imagine little dark blue men in 2022 helping to defend Ukraine? if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. As you say, the prospect of the Chernobyl nuclear power station being hit directly by a missile, by a Russian missile, is truly alarming. I'm with Richard Tice, a leading politician over here. He leads the Reform UK party, and I think he wants to ask you a question.
Dmytro, good morning, and my sympathies with all of you in Ukraine at this terrible time. And I think those of us in sort of safe cities in the West, we have been, no question, guilty of thinking that Putin was still rational. I couldn't see the incentive for him to invade. But now that he has, as you say, in a sense, everything is back on the table. And the idea that he could either deliberately or by accident bomb Chernobyl just takes things to another level. There's no question that I think NATO and here in the UK, I think we're leading the way. We want to help with all the support that we can. With the obviously the big question mark, as you've referred to, a no-fly zone. The Defence Secretary here has made it very clear that, in a sense, for us to send in NATO planes that would then essentially be directly combating against Russian planes would essentially be a very quick way to World War III, and that, of course, that's the big challenge that everybody is grappling with. How close are we moving towards that, whilst, of course, we want to continue to provide the maximum support we can to Ukraine?
You see, the thing is that I believe that Putin is a product of unpunished evil, and is a result of silent consent, unfortunately. And it started in Transnistria, then it moved to Georgia, and then to Syria, and now to Ukraine. And the thing is, I understand why the West is hesitating. Everybody does. It's a matter of the nuclear arms and stuff like that. No problem with that. What I don't understand is that if Kyiv falls, and then if Ukraine falls, and he will get away with it, what would be the next target, and why would you respond, even in case if he would try to make a land corridor from Belarus to the what is called the Königsberg region in Europe, which is in the heart of Europe. And this is not, and that is not my fantasy with it. We have been discussing this at the Munich Security Conference just last week. I mean, that is not something that I'm making up. So the European people from the security area are considering this risk to be very real. So what will happen then? I mean, the nuclear arm will still be there. Putin will still be there. So why would the West then decide to respond only because of the NATO? I mean, come on. You wouldn't dare to start another.
Yeah, I believe it's beyond.
You wouldn't dare to start a World War III.
It's beyond a NATO issue. I think it is a moral issue, and as you quite rightly implied, Dmytro, I don't think Ukraine's the end of his ambitions. If we stand by and just let him take and rape your country, he will advance. I think he's intent on the Balkan states, whereby we'll have to respond due to NATO rules. Those are NATO
There's
allies.
no question, that's right. I mean, the moment he puts one toe cap into a NATO state, then it's a completely different ballgame. And in a sense, that is the dividing line that NATO is trying to hold. I think that, and in a sense, that's the big unknown question. Is this the limit of his ambitions, or is it beyond? And if it's beyond, we've all had a massive wake-up call, and it is then, that's the big moment. And, a no-fly zone over Ukraine now, in a sense, advances that moment. And that's the judgment that the Western leaders are grappling with.
Dmytro, thank you so much for joining us at such a traumatic time for you. Can you, first of all, tell us how urgent is your need for assistance more than economic sanctions? And can you give us some kind of assessment of the brave Ukrainian resistance? Because it sounds like, as you quite rightly said, there's a hell of a fight going on at Chernobyl. And I think at times we in the West underestimate the resolve of the Ukrainian people and the forces and their determination to resist this bully from the north.
Look, we have been fighting Russians in one way or another for at least, I think, 300 or 400 years, actively fighting against them in the last 8 years. So, I mean, we absolutely, we know absolutely for sure who are we dealing with. And those people, they don't understand any boundaries. They don't understand any limits. They don't understand anything. They understand only the use of force. Those are barbarians. I'm sorry to say that. But there's no way a civilized country like that can behave in such a manner. So the need for the assistance is, of course, overdue. I mean, we needed that 72 hours ago, if not even earlier. But the thing is that it's still not too late today. It's still not too late. It might be late in 1 hour, in 2 hours, in 3 hours. It might be late. So of course we would need that. But the thing is that, you know, if you need a wake up call, I mean, have a look at the videos from Ukraine. What you will hear is wake up shots, and I'm not sure if that is not enough for you. What is enough? I mean, it reminds me a bit, you know, of a British classic, the series like Yes, Prime Minister, when there was an episode about nuclear deterrence, and they've been describing the salami tactics used by the Russians. And the main point is that the UK Prime Minister was never going to push the button because he didn't understand what was the last resort, Piccadilly. And it was like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, that episode has been shot. And right now, what I see is that episode in real life, unfortunately.
And as everybody keeps saying, as we see these alarming images on the TV, this is not a movie. This is real life. Dmytro, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Good talk. Hot talk.
Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.